Returning to the studio now with more on the story are Dr. Martin Sherman, the founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, and David Bedein, the director of the Center for Near East Policy. Thank you both for coming in, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So, first of all, let's begin with the question of, do you believe that there's going to be a war, especially now that maybe some of the escalation has ended?
There is a war. Anyone who says there's not a war is not paying attention to what's going on. It's been very, very carefully planned, systematically planned. First, there was a 6-month period of the Arab children going through training in Gaza by UNRWA. 83% of the people living in Gaza live in the UNRWA camps, the United Nations Relief and Work Agency camps, where they were trained for a war at this period of time. The war begins in the south and will continue. They are focusing on every place where they lost in 1948. Every child gets this map. Every place which is red on the map is a place where they're aiming to attack. And it's all the places they think they lost in 1948, and they think they have a right to go there. Our films show, IsraelBehindTheNews.com, you'll see them. Our films show children indoctrinated by UNRWA, together with Hamas, to believe they have the right to attack every place here and take their homes back from 48.
So do you believe this to be a false narrative, that it had anything to do with maybe the botched mission Sunday evening?
I don't think the Hamas really need an excuse. What you're seeing is very disturbing and very depressing. And in fact, what you're seeing in Gaza today is the paradox of Israel. Tactical brilliance and strategic imbecility. You've seen, yesterday we saw 400 war crimes within a few hours. Every single rocket fired by Hamas at the civilian population is a war crime. And Israel, in my opinion, the government is showing irresponsible constraint. I don't know what people are waiting for. Are you waiting for the Gazans to morph into something that they haven't been for the last 100 years? We've tried everything. We've tried negotiated settlements, unilateral withdrawal, everything. There is no consensual resolution to what's going on in Gaza, only coercive.
So I want to touch on that, because I understand that here, coming off of what you just said, we have a war crime sitting on our table. Would you like to
yes,
kind of maybe
course.
tell us a little bit about this?
This is a Qassam rocket. I brought it to the studio because most people have not. They heard rockets and missiles, but they've never seen one. No, this missed my son by about 20 feet a few years back. My son Noam was the director of the center of the Sderot Media Center. He still works there. He's not the director now. And this is something, and it has on it. It says Al-Quds on it. So it has
for Jerusalem.
Absolutely. So this is not something which is a happenstance issue. And when thousands of these rain down, that's what we're talking about. Most Israelis outside of the southern region have not seen them, which is why I have it here today, to understand what goes on. And together with this, you see, we have the children.
And this is what's been fired overnight. This is what has been attacking.
If there were 400 attacks, this is it. This is what attack. And the fact that there are less fatalities is something which is hard to believe, hard for people to understand. I work with the foreign press over the last 32 years, and foreign press, when they hear there were 2 people who were killed, well, they from their point of view, when it bleeds, it leads. They don't pay attention to the potential of this, and the fact that this is what's caused 90% of the children in Sderot to be in a situation of traumatic stress syndrome, and the stress, the trauma, which the entire southern region is going through right now, escapes what we see here in Tel Aviv.
Well, yeah, that's just picking up on what David said. For some reason, the international community thinks that the Hamas's poor aim somehow gives them the moral high ground. I mean, every single rocket that is fired in Israel is an attempted murder. They're attempting to murder the civilian population. And I cannot understand why the Israeli government doesn't respond in kind. Every time there's been a period of calm, Israel's enemies have used that to enhance their capabilities beyond recognition. If anyone in 2005, when we pulled out of Gaza, would have predicted that the realities we're seeing today would be the realities, he would be dismissed as an unreasonable fearmonger, because then the most formidable weapon was a rocket with a payload of up to a kilogram and a range of 5 kilometers.
This is already
and today you're facing weapons that have an explosive charge of 100 kilograms and a range of 100 kilometers.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna come back actually. So please stay tuned if you're watching at home. But we're going to move on actually more to the point on kind of how the rest of the international community is really addressing this issue.